Hello,
Hello, ma'am, you're audible.
I'm audible, right? Thank you so much, Shweta. So, thank you once again to everybody, and welcome to the first session of the LMIH course. So, before this, we had one session which was the orientation session done by Divya. And moving forward, before I jump into the presentation, a few things I just wanted to share. First of all, I would like to really express my gratitude to all of you who are out in the field, even in this crisis situation, providing healthcare services, taking the big risk that you are taking. I think really you all are our heroes, and really a big thank you to all of you. So with that, I would want to start with the sessions. And as you know, these contact sessions, which we have planned as weekly sessions, would be done for 1 hour every week. And the purpose of having this session is basically to go through the content of each module and discuss with you some of the key components, some of the key priority areas that are defined in that module, and also, talk about it with all of us together and see if we are having any challenges in terms of understanding the sections, or and also how we feel about those topics. So basically, the sessions, this 1 hour session has been designed in a way which allows us to have 40 minutes of presentation, and 20 minutes after that would be followed by discussions. Going forward, it would be Shweta who would be coordinating this course, as you might already be knowing, because Divya has gone for maternity leave, and I would be working closely with Shweta and taking some of the sessions. So, as you might have seen on the invite, I'm Madhuri Mukherjee. I was previously working with ITEC as the country representative, and then I took a break for a year, and presently I am associated with ITEC as a consultant. So with that, we would now move to our first module of the LMIH course, which is Leading and Managing Framework. So I hope that all of you had an opportunity to go through the module. And if there is anybody for whom this is the first time you are would be going through the components of the module, it would be helpful if you can just raise your hand or just indicate, so then I can explain it accordingly. Okay. So I see that there are two participants for whom this would be the first time they would be going through the course. So no problem. I would try to explain as much as possible so that after this session, when you go through the component, the course material, it would be easy for you to understand. Yes. No, I can see more people raising hands, so I think that is totally fine. I can fully understand that you might not have got the time to go through the modules. But going forward, I would request that it would be helpful if it is possible for you to go through the content before we have these contact sessions, because then that will help us to have a fruitful discussion. So about this course, as you know, that this is a 12-week course, out of which the first week is basically the orientation week, and the last week is for the follow-up, for the submission of various assignments and other processes, the presentation. It's basically the modules, we have 10 modules, and each week we would be completing one module. So by now, I'm hoping that you have already introduced yourself on the Canvas and also completed the policy quiz, because it's only after you have done the quiz, you would be able to access module 1. Okay. So I see that many of you have already completed this task. I would request others who have not been able to complete the policy quiz, please go to the Canvas website and please do, take up the quiz, because after that you'll be able to access the modules easily. So now that you are already familiar with the Canvas and you would have seen the syllabus and modules, if you're facing any problem in terms of navigating through the dashboard, through the modules, through the basic website, please reach out to us. You can always message us on our WhatsApp group, and Shweta, Praveen, and I are available to help you as needed. So in terms of our assignments, so basically this is a self-learning course, and by self-learning we mean that we assume that people would be going through the various sections, various documents as and when it is convenient for them, and accordingly after going through each section documents, you will be responding to a quiz and also putting up a comment on the discussion board. So the discussion board is basically a forum where you also get to interact other people from all across the globe who are attending this course. And let me tell you that this LMIH course is one of the most popular courses which is run by University of Washington. And hence you will find that there are many people all over the world who are working in various roles, largely within the context of public health, who are attending this course. And when I took up this course like few years back, I found the discussion board to be a very interesting platform where you could share views, you could learn from others' experiences. So I would request and encourage people to really go to the discussion board, post your comments, and also post your responses. So in terms of the marking that is being done, as you already know, as was also mentioned by Divya in the orientation session, so the presentation carries 25% marks, and the presentation is what you would be submitting at the end of the course, which is at the end of the 10 weeks that you would be submitting the presentation. The ILP carries 35% marks, and ILP is something that you would be turning in twice. Between the course and once at the end of the course. So the ILP would have to be submitted at the end of module 3 and module 7. So please note that the ILP would have to be submitted at the end of module 3 and module 7. And finally, at the end of module 10, you will have to submit the ILP. Quiz is something that you have to do at the end of every week, at the end of every module, and discussion and quiz are something that would be done on a weekly basis. So this course definitely requires some bit of regularity, but however, people do acknowledge that there are times when it might not be possible for people to regularly, go to do the quiz, do the discussion board. So there's also opportunity of having a 1 week grace period when we can submit the assignments maybe within a period of 1 week, which is considered by University of Washington. So they have given us that window of 1 week to turn in our assignments. So I'll just take a stop here and see if there are any questions or anything. I'll just open up the chat box to see if there are any questions. And I don't see anything here, so I think I'll just move on. Okay. Just trying to, okay. Sorry. So before we work on module 1, this is a course policy, the quiz on course policies, that is which is something that you have to take. And this is, though this is an ungraded quiz, that is, it is, so you don't get any marks for going through this quiz, but it helps you to get a, you at the end of doing the quiz, you know whether you have been able to get a good grasp of Canvas and how, whether you're comfortable with it or not. And also it helps you to access module 1 and 2, and that is why this quiz is important. Let me just see, I think there is some comment here. Yes, so I see a question around whether ILP can be submitted via Android mobile. Sure, as long as your, whatever is a compatible gadget, I think you can send it. So there's no restriction in terms of the digital, platform through which you submit it. Uh, So now, when we talk about this leading and managing framework, what do we understand? So I'm now going to play this video, audio clip by Professor Ann Downer. And as you might already know, Professor Ann Downer is the key instructor for this LMIH course, and she is supported by Britt Yamamoto, who's also a clinical professor at clinical associate professor at University of Washington. So they, Anne and Brett are the two key persons who are managing this course at University of Washington. So I'm now going to play the audio clip, and it's a short clip. It's about 5-6 minutes, but it's important for all of us to listen to it together. So I'm just going to play the audio clip now.
And very reflective of the ideas we associate today with transformational leadership. Drucker is sometimes called the father. Peter Drucker was founded in 1900. He received a doctoral degree from Frankfurt, Germany, and went to the University of after he decided to people and to help people do that. He decided to start a business at NYU Graduate Business School, partly because correspondent management studies didn't exist yet. It didn't exist yet, but because
it seems that the audio clip is not very clear. So I would request all participants to go to the Canvas side, and there you will find this audio clip there. So you can listen to that, and it is much clearer on the Canvas side. So in terms of when we are talking about this module 1, leading and managing framework, what is it that we are, what is it that basically we are trying to understand? And the first important part that is covered in this module is about the difference between leadership and management. Quite often when we are talking, we tend to use leadership and management in trying to mean the same thing. But then if you look at it deeper, there's a clear differentiation between what leadership means and what management means, what being a manager means. And in this module, Anne has shared the examples from Peter Drucker, from Stephen Covey, to emphasize that basically leadership and management are part of the same coin. It's not very different because to be a leader, you have to be a good manager. So unlike what is usually assumed that leadership and management are very distinct to each other, it is actually a part of the same continuum where you start from being a good manager and you move towards your journey to become a good leader. And that is what has been emphasized in this entire module. This module also looks deeper into the theories of Peter Drucker. As many of us may know, he's very renowned for some of his management theory books. So Peter Drucker has also emphasized about how leadership and management are part of the same thing, and what basically means to be a good leader. So basically, we are looking into some of these management theories of individuals and also organizations like WHS, like Management of Health Science, who have also given framework of what leadership means within, particularly in the context of public health. What Peter Drucker and Stephen Covey talk about management is in a larger, in a general sense, but the framework that is given by WHO and MHS, which is the Management of Health Sciences, is basically in the context of public health, which I think is very relevant to all of us who are working in the context of public health. I'll just take a minute here and just check in if everybody is doing well. If there's any question that you have, you can put it up in the chat box. Any questions? Sorry. Okay, okay. Sorry. So as you can see that the framework that is given by WHO basically talks about 7 blocks of building, with 7 building blocks which are important to achieve the key outcomes in public health programs. And when we are talking about key outcomes in public health programs, we are talking about improving work culture, we are talking about increasing the capacity to respond to public health situation. So when we look at the 7 building blocks that WHO has referred to, in that governance and leadership has been identified as a critical component that is effective in terms of achieving the health outcomes. And leadership is essential for any health system strengthening. And as we can see in terms of the responses to the COVID-19 situation, we must, all of us have seen there have been regular write-ups on how effective leaders or how country responses to COVID situation has been determined by the leadership, is determinant on how strong or how effective the leaders are. So we can see a close relationship between leadership and how public health interventions and programs are implemented, or we are able to achieve the outcomes. So we can see how these are very closely linked. The framework which is given by the Management Sciences for Health, which is the MSH framework, this module basically relies on leading and managing framework. So where we talk about leading and managing framework, they are looking at various practices which are important to build strong organization capacities. And with that, they mean looking at improved work culture, looking at management systems, and looking at capacity to respond to change. Sorry. So basically, the MSH framework is looking at leadership within the organizational context. So just going back to our earlier discussion, so both the frameworks that is given by WHO and MSH are frameworks that look at leadership within the organizational context, unlike the definition of leadership which is given by Peter Drucker and Stephen Covey, which is basically looking at it as an individual attribute. So this is the basic difference, if you can say, between the way this has been defined across the various frameworks. So after the section on the definitions in the module, you would also find that there is this activity which basically is a self-assessment tool. And here the components, the 4 categories which are defined are the ones which are used by MSH to identify what are the attributes of leadership. So basically here they have the exercise that we need to do is to look at each of these points, look at each of the definition. For example, if we are looking at the component of scanning and we look at the sub points, and the sub point 2 is I talk with colleagues in other organizations about what they are doing. So when we read this, we should give ourselves a score. And I would request that when we are doing this exercise, we should be very critical and we should really think through and be honest to us, because then only we will be it would be effective to do this exercise. And the way the ranking we have to do is the ranking is from 1 to 5, where 1 is I rarely do this and 5 is I often do this. So you can rank yourself anywhere between 1 to 5. And then once you have ranked yourself across each of the sub points, you will do a total of that and then divide it by 5 to come to the final score for that section. And I hope it is clear. If not, please feel free to send a message on the WhatsApp group, or even you can put it up on the chat box. And sorry. The purpose of doing this exercise is basically to identify what are our strengths and what are the areas that we need to work on. So once we do this exercise, once we are able to assess, we are able to score ourselves, we can see which are the points that we need to work on, we need to prioritize. And through the course of our work, through the process of self-learning, we can focus on those particular areas that we need to work on. The other thing that this module is also requesting is that if you are comfortable, you should also ask a colleague or somebody known to you to score you on these same indicators. Because and the purpose for doing that is many a times we assume that we are doing something, whereas people's perception about us may be very different. So it is also helpful to see how people perceive us on these categories, so that based on the feedback that we get from people's reflection of us, it is also useful to work on those and take it into our journey for improvement, and as in terms of focusing on like prioritizing what are the areas that we need to focus on to be really to emerge, to move forward in this path of leadership. So that is how we need to take up this practice. And you would really like to, you will really enjoy to do it. It takes some time, but I would request everyone to go through this activity. Okay. So now we have this audio clip by Peter Pure, which I'm not going to play. But Peter Pure he's the executive director of London School of Health and Hygiene, and he's somebody who has been a very strong leader in terms of public health innovations. And in his work, once you go through the audio clip, when you look at the Canvas file. So what he is basically talking about is his understanding of leadership based on the work that he has done. And it would resonate with many of us because his leadership has been primarily in the context of public health programs. So I think for many of us, we would be able to identify our experiences with what Peter Pure has described and how he has been able to move forward as a leader in context of working with teams in terms of leading these major public health interventions. So some of the things that Peter Pure has kind of, really focused on, which I really kind of liked in what he says, is about risk taking. Yes, he's very clear that as a leader, we always need to take risks. But then when we are talking about risks, it cannot be just a random as an unthought of risk. It has to be a calculated risk. We should always be aware of what is negotiable and what is non-negotiable. And that is which kind of makes a difference between a person who has the leadership attribute in terms of foreseeing that what risks are worth taking and what are the risks that are not worth taking. So it's a lot of it has to do with your sense of judgment also. The other thing that Peter Piot talks about in his presentation is that we should never feel bad with initial failures, because initial failures are also important for us to take bigger steps in future, so that we know what went wrong and we can be armed in future to address those failures. So he has really emphasized that we should never be fearful or worried about failures. So I would request all of you to go through his lecture. It's about 13 minutes audio video clip, and you would definitely find it very interesting. Once you have gone through this audio clip and you have heard Peter Piot, it would be really good. Maybe in the WhatsApp group, we can have a follow-up discussion on. So I would look forward to hear from you once you have gone through Peter Piot's video on what do you think resonates with you, like what in terms of your own personal experience you feel you can identify with Peter Piot, and if there are things that you agree on, or if there are things that you don't sorry, don't agree with. So please do share your thoughts, and we could take it as a discussion on our WhatsApp group. So once you have heard Peter Piot, the next thing that is something that it would be good for you to read in this module is this journal on The Manager. So basically, this is a journal that is published by this MHS people. And basically, they are the management sciences for health people. And basically, this issue of The Manager focuses on how leading and managing can be practiced at the same time. So what they are talking about, and we have also, identified the pages that you need to focus on, so you don't have to go through the entire document. So basically, the pages that we would like you to read are pages 2 to 9 and 17 to 18. So, it would be good if you can go through the entire document, but if not, then do try to read these pages. This journal also highlights what are the successful leadership practices, and the leadership practices that they define here are the same ones that you would have done in the previous activity on leadership practices. So it is the same set of practices that this journal has been talking about that you have already done in your activity thing. So you would find it quite resonating with what our existing work is like, and also based on the activity that we have done it, you would find this article to be very interesting. So I would really request you to go through this article as you are going through the other contents of the module. So now we come on the 7. We focus a bit on the 7 habits. So as you all must have known that this the LMIH course relies a lot on Stephen Covey's book on the 7 habits of highly effective people, and I'm sure that quite a few amongst us would have already read the book. And something interesting that I would like to add here is that for people who have already read the book, once you have done this course and you go back to the book again, you would find that you would be interpreting the things in a very different way. And that because I can say that because that is what happened to me. I had read the book before I had done the course. And once I did the course, there were many things in the book which were not clear when I was reading it. But once I went through this course, it really helped me to understand that better. And for those who have not gone through the book, I would request definitely it's a worth. It's something. It's an investment worth it. So I would request that if you like to read books, do go ahead. This is one of the management books that I feel is really a great kind of resource for all of us. And many a times you would feel referring to this book as you are citing, as you are talking to others or planning any. In our day-to-day work life. So in terms of like what basically Stephen Covey talks about are these 7 habits which he has defined as critical habits of leadership. And before getting into the 7 habits, the reason why he has used the word habit is because Stephen Covey makes it the way he defines leadership is that leadership is something that you can learn, you can build on. Stephen Covey defies the myth that leaders are born. Stephen Covey puts forward the theory that leaders are made. And that, I think, is one of the basic reasons why he's talking to these 7 habits. Because if we inculcate these 7 habits, then we can definitely say that we are making small or big movements in terms of our journey to be an effective leader. And that is why he has referred to these steps as being 7 habits. So jumping into what these habits are, as you would see that the first habit is be proactive. So when we are talking about being proactive, what we basically mean is taking control of our own life. And how do we take control of our own life? Is by becoming responsible for our own actions, by becoming responsible for what we do and taking proactive action. That is the first habit that is critical in terms of the stages, in terms of the journey to be an effective leader. The second habit that they talk about is beginning with the end in mind. And with this, basically what he is trying to say is that we should know what we want to accomplish. The goal has to be very clear in our mind. Being a leader is very important. For a good leader, it is very important to have the clarity of what they want to achieve. What is the end goal that they have in mind? As a leader, we cannot be fumbling about what we want to achieve. So it is very important that we know what we are trying, what is the end goal that we are trying to arrive at. And to achieve that, the third habit, which basically talks about putting first things first, which is about prioritization. And that is very important if we have to achieve our goal. So if you look at these 3 habits, you will see that there is a close interconnection between these 3 habits. And these 3 habits are what Stephen Covey has identified as private victories. Because these 3 habits center around the individual themselves. These are things that we need to do within our own self. And that is why these have been categorized as being private victories, because these are steps that we need to take when we move from dependence to independence to being interdependent, which are also closely interlinked with these 7 habits that have been talked about. So from now that we've talked about the first 3 habits, which is at the individual space, the next 3 habits, the habit number 4, habit number 5, and habit number 6, basically talk about our collaboration with others. They are resonant of how we engage with others and what do we do in reference to our interactions with others in terms of our relationships, in terms of our day-to-day interaction. Here, the habit number 4, which is think win, is basically talking about that as leader, it is important that we seek agreements or solutions that are mutually beneficial. As leader, we can never be myopic in terms of the solutions. The solutions have to be something which we have to always strive for solutions that work for all. And that is crucial for a leader, that we always need to focus on solutions and agreements that are beneficial to the larger majority. And to do that, habit number 5, which is seek first to understand and then to be understood, is basically about listening with empathy and trying to feel what others feel. So for us to arrive at a decision as at a solution which is beneficial to all, we need to be empathetic to others. We need to be able to listen to others. And lastly, we also need to synergize, work together with others. So you can see that habit number 4, 5, and 6 are basically things that are essential in terms of the public domain where we are engaging with others and how we are looking at leadership in context of our interaction with others. And that is how this module has defined the stages of leadership. Now, the seventh and the most critical habit which has been defined is sharpening the saw. And when we talk about sharpening the saw, it basically means that we need to keep energizing, re-energizing ourselves, our mind, our body, our soul, our spirit, because unless we do that, we would not be able to take up any of the earlier habits that we are talking about. So it is very important that we always keep renewing ourselves, we always keep re-energizing ourselves. After that, there's a short audio clip by Anne, and it would really help you to go through the audio clip because Anne has defined the 7 habits and basically, dwelled deeper into what Stephen Covey has tried to highlight through these these things. So in terms of again, going back to the term habit, because as you would see that these seven habits are actions that need to happen, and that is why they are called as habit, because habit is something we keep doing again and again until it becomes automatic. And that is when you really emerge as a leader, because these are things, these are practices that you put into action day in and day out, and that is how you become a real leader, by making them part of your day-to-day behavior, part of your day-to-day interaction with others. And that is why they are talking about this as being a habit and not as anything else. The other thing that basically Anne has also identified in her write-up is basically that in terms of these 7 habits, there are 2 overarching principles that can be found across, that are kind of resonating across all the 7 habits that Stephen Covey has been talking about. And these 2 principles are of emotional bank account and the production and production capacity balance. So when we talk about emotional bank account, what do we understand? Sure, I'd like to take a minute and see if anybody would like to share some ideas on the chat box. I'll halt for 2 minutes, and I'll request people to share, to write on the chat box what you think is emotional bank account. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your responses. And I think most of you have got it perfectly correct that this is basically about deposits and withdrawal of emotion. It is about feeling and behavior towards others. It is about what we do well and what we don't do well. So, the reason why they have used the term emotional bank account is to basically make kind of, to basically demonstrate how when we are operating our bank accounts, so we have something of a withdrawal and we have something of a deposit. So similar to that, in our lives, we also have deposits, which are the positives, and withdrawals, which are the negatives. So what do we mean basically by the emotional bank account is basically looking at what are the positives that get people to trust on us. How do we build trust? So when we are talking about deposits here, we are basically talking about what are the things that help us to build trust. Because as a leader, it is very important that people trust us and we are also able to trust people. And some of the ways by which we can build on trust with people is by understanding other people, by keeping our commitments, by helping. And also, one important aspect is by apologizing when we do something wrong. So, these are very critical parts of building the positives in our life. And when we look at the withdrawal, it's basically what are things that reduce people's trust on us. When is it that people stop trusting us? And that happens when we are unable to keep our word, when we are unable to keep our commitment, when we show disrespect, when we betray trust. And that is what leads to people losing our trust in them. And similarly, it happens with leaders. When we come across leaders who make promises but are unable to keep those promises, our trust in those leaders wanes. We are not able to trust leaders who are not able to live up to our expectation, who are not able to build into our trust. So it is very important that when we are talking about leadership, we are looking at what are the positives that help to build it and what are the negatives that affect it negatively. And the other principle that Stephen Covey has talked about, which is basically the production and the production capability, is basically looking at when we want to do some action, when we want to take up action, what are the resources that we have? And what are the assets that we bring to table? And it is very important to have a good understanding of what our capabilities are, because in the long run, if we are not able to use the resources and the assets properly, our production systems will fail. And that is what has kind of, which Stephen, I mean, these are the two principles basically which underline the 7 habits that Stephen Covey has been talking about. So after the section on emotional bank account, there's an activity which you have to do on Canvas. So basically, this again is a self-reflection activity. So for each of the sentences that is given here, you have to put a plus, which means that if it is your positive, or you have to put a minus, which means that it is something that you need to build upon further. So once you have done that, then you see the column on changes I can make to build deposits or repair trust would be what are the things that are showing up as negative in this assessment, and then could be things that you work on to make it positive from the present negative. So this is again a self-reflective exercise, and I would request you to take some time and do this exercise and not to do this in a rush, because otherwise, because all of these need some time to think. And once you have done this exercise, you will be able to move to your ILP and do the ILP sections. And when you are looking at these experiences, you can look at it in the context of both personal and professional relationships. So that is one more thing I wanted to add, that when we are talking about emotional bank account, it is not only in the context of our professional relationships, it is also in the context of our personal relationships that we have in our families, relationship with our friends. So we have to look at that when we are trying to assess ourselves, like, so looking at both personal and professional domain when we rank ourselves in terms of how we are doing in terms of these emotions. So before you do this exercise, it would be good for you to go through Anne's video where she has explained this further. That would really help you get more clarity. Okay, so there's a feedback on comment on that they didn't find this exercise on the canvas. Sure, we'll let you know. We'll share the link of this exercise. Yeah. Sorry. So now we move to habit 1, which is the underlying habit, be proactive, which is the main focus area of module 1, which is around being proactive, which is basically when we talk about being proactive means taking initiative, and which is a part of the private victories, which is something that we do at our individual level. When we are talking about being proactive, in your module, you would see that they have looked into concentric circles, which is basically looking at 3 levels of influence, which is your center of circle of influence, circle of concern. I'm sorry, I just skipped a slide. Yes, and circle of control. Is there a question? Okay, no, sorry. Okay, so when we are talking about being proactive, we basically need to be cognizant of the 3 levels of influence and control that we have. And those are very important to see where is it that we are spending our time on. Because that becomes basically the core difference between proactive and reactive people. When we talk about somebody being proactive, we are basically talking about somebody who is looking at things that they can move, looking at things that they can influence, and they are not all bogged down by things that is beyond their control. Whereas reactive people are ones who are always bogged down by things which are beyond their control. They're always saying things like, oh, I cannot do it. ये मेरे बस का नहीं है, मेरे capacity नहीं है. Whereas proactive people are ones who will say, okay, मैं कोशिश कर सकता हूँ, मैं कोशिश कर सकती हूँ. Let me try. Maybe I can do it some other way. So the basic difference between proactive and reactive people is that proactive people look at the circle of control. They understand what their strengths are, they understand what their weaknesses are, and they take advantage of things that they can control, and thereby they plunge into taking action. Whereas reactive people are basically focusing at things which are beyond their control. They are looking at things which are referred here as circle of concern, which is looking at the country context, which is looking at who knew 3 months back that we would all be facing something like COVID-19. So these are things we could have never thought that we would be facing today. So when we are talking about circle of concern, we're basically talking about things which are beyond control. However, there are still people who, even within this COVID scenario, are trying to do something. Many of you are still going to work. Many of us are trying to find a way to do something. And that is what is being proactive is all about. That is what is when we are talking about circle of control, to know what we can do. And if we just put our hands down and just give up things and say, oh, we cannot do anything, that is when we become reactive. I hope it is clear in terms of what being proactive and reactive are, and also looking at the circle of influence, circle of concern. So circle of control is basically what is within our own hands, is at our individual level. Circle of concern is the broader area, the macro context. And circle of influence is basically our close allies, like our family, friends, people whom we can influence but we cannot control. So these are the three concentric circles which have been defined in terms of when we exercise our ability to be proactive or reactive. How do we take these into consideration? Sorry, I would request you to go through the section, the module, and if it is still not clear, please feel free to reach out to me. So Anne has very nicely described the difference between reactive and proactive personalities, the circles of control, influence, and concern, and also how we can become more self-aware and move from being reactive to proactive, and we can start controlling things. So what I really like about this module is that apart from putting forward the framework's various definition, they've also simplified the definitions in a way that it is easy to understand for all of us. So that each of the concepts has been defined very nicely in terms of through these audio clips, through these resource material. And I think that is really helpful for all of us, because when I read these first time, even I was not able to grasp with some of the things that they were talking about. It was only as I started reading the reference materials and other content that I was able to get a clarity on what they were trying to say. So I would request that as you find time, please go through the resource materials. It would really help you to get a good grasp on things. So I wanted to play this audio clip as, this is something what I had started with in the beginning of why Covey feels leadership is a habit, but I don't think the audio connection is very good. So I think I'll skip this video as of now, but you can access this on the website, and you can find it on the Canvas side. So basically what Covey is talking about is that leaders are products of their own choice. So it is when you decide to be a leader, you become a leader. People are not born leaders. They become leaders. And that is a very important aspect of ideological perspective that Covey has brought in, because many a times when we read about leadership, we read about leadership as being something you are born with. But that is what Covey has defined in terms of nature versus nurture, where he feels that leaders can be nurtured, leaders can be made based on the habits that you inculcate. So I think it's a very fitting conclusion to this section. So now we are done with the basic content of this module, and we'll just go through some of the follow-ups that you need to do. And after that, I'll just stop, and then we can go through any questions or any comments that you may have. And as you know, you have to post to the discussion forum by Monday, April 20th by noon. So you would see that their timing is Sunday midnight USA time, East Coast time. So that gives us about 10 more hours. So it is about like 12 noon IST for us. So I would request, please do find time by then. and upload your thoughts on the discussion board. And then this is a snapshot of the individual learning plan for this module. So it is really helpful to do the ILP exercise as you do the modules, because these questions are interconnected to the content that you would go through in the module, and it is good if you have the content fresh in your mind, because many a times if you try to do it after 3 weeks, you will again have to spend time going through the module to remember what you read and to frame your ideas. So it is helpful if you can go through the ILP and keep doing it as you finish each module. And along with the dashboard, you have to also do the quiz. And it's a very easy quiz. So I would say that don't be worried about it. It's a very simple, very easy quiz. And it doesn't take much time. I mean, you can be done in less than 10 minutes. And apart from that, there are some of these resources which we feel are good resources, but you can also look at other stuff. And if there are other things that you have read on separately, please feel free to add to that, or kind of refer to that as you are doing your exercise. So with this, I'll just stop for any questions, any comments, any feedback. Shweta, would you like to add anything here before we get people to ask any questions or comments? Any clarifications or anything?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe just one thing which I even told in the orientation session. The thing is, the discussion board, it is of 2 points for each discussion for each module. When you post a discussion, it is 1 point, and when you reply to someone's discussion, it is 1 point. Usually, people miss that 1 point because they don't reply to others.
Yeah.
So please be sure that you reply also.
Thank you, Shweta. I hope it is clear to all.
Yes.
Yeah, clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please feel free to reach out to us on the WhatsApp group if anything is not clear, or you would like to add any, share any thoughts or anything.
Madhuri, I have a question.
Sure.
In fact, 2 questions. One, I wasn't able to, I was trying to do that leadership activity, which we are supposed to give marks to ourselves. I couldn't find a link, so I was trying to do it because I could read it, but I couldn't post my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on it.
Okay.
And the other one is ILP, they're only supposed to be 3 ILPs. So can I post every week, or can I keep on revising every week? How do I go about it?
Okay, so on the first question, ma'am, so basically the scoring will have to be done on a printout. So basically it's not, I mean, I think that's what it is, that you have to take a printout and then do the scoring on a separate sheet of paper, because this is not an activity that is graded or anything. So that is for the activity, like there are 2 self-assessment which are basically you need to just take printouts and do it as. And I also feel that this is like when you are meeting with your staff, or you have any team meetings, you can use there also. So basically it's a printout activity. And for the IFA, ma'am, basically we have to submit it like 3 times. We have to submit it at the end of week 3, after we have done module 3, and then after we have done module 7, and then after we have done the module 10, like all the modules. So we have time to update that, because many a times what happens is, as we move to the next module, there could be things that we may want to revise, as you have mentioned. You're free to do that, and you can do that till you submit the module, which is like, twice, or at the end of the course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And okay, right now I didn't have access to printer because we are more or less operating from home, but I'll try to get a printer.
Sure,
or I can do it on a separate sheet and then add up my score. I don't need to post it
No, no, you
anywhere.
don't need it. So this is only for our own reflection, ma'am. So this, you don't have to post it. You can do it as a side on a copy or something.
Yeah, I have a lot of emotional negative balance. I think.
No, ma'am, that's how we all start. So same for me as well. But I think it's a good exercise, like when we actually sit down. and do it.
Yeah, it's eye opener to
Right.
your.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. Do we need ILP to submit in on-site group or Canvas only?
Shweta, can you add to that?
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Generally we upload the document to the Canvas, but we have been waiting for the module to open to know a bit more about it. We'll keep you posted on this once the module opens. Secondly, about the, I hope this answers your question, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Secondly, Vinay sir, you had asked about if there's any word limit in discussion. No, there's no word limit. But what we have been seeing last year is people just copy paste from the module. So we encourage participants to write in their own words as far as possible.
And Shweta, is this week counted as week 1, or since we were supposed to start on 6, it's week 2?
No, this is week 1. This time they have done it a bit differently. Last time they used to open modules a week before, but for some reason, maybe the COVID situation, this will be week 1, ma'am. So that's how the announcements are made on the Canvas also.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Please.
Actually, I have already completed the module 1 quizzes.
Okay.
Hello. I think it will be better for us after we attend the webinar. No?
It's completely your choice.
Hello?
It's based on the reading also. Hello.
Ji, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Yeah, it's based on the
Yes,
reading, so you can go ahead with
yeah.
the quiz. Yeah, you can go ahead with the quiz. No problem about waiting for the webinar to happen. Only thing is you won't get the grades till the due date. The grades will be posted only after the due date.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Quiz 1 will be starting on, it is due on 20th April. It is due on 20th April afternoon. So please complete it by then. ILP will be a Word document. Hello. Hello.
Hello, can we attempt only 2 times in a quiz 1?
Yes. It will be only 2. And the maximum score will be considered.
Okay, when उसको हमने एक बार start कर दिया तो we should complete. You know, first attempt or maybe second attempt.
टाइम का कोई नहीं सर, टाइम का कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. You can take your own time. एक बार आप सबमिट कर देते हो तो फिर 2 बार सबमिट करने के बाद जो हाईएस्ट स्कोर है वो लिया जाता है.
नहीं, यदि फर्स्ट टाइम सबमिट कर दिया तो उसमें जो आंसर्स हैं वो सेकंड टाइम के लिए वो हट जाएंगे या रहेंगे? रह जाएंगे दिखेंगे.
आप सर इम्प्रूव
रह जाएंगे.
हेलो मैम. हेलो मैम. हेलो मैम. नेक्स्ट टाइम तो ये रह नहीं जाता है ना. नेक्स्ट टाइम you can repeat it, na?
You can repeat it also, sir.
Yes, I have already seen. We can repeat it.
Okay. Next class will be next Thursday.
And also, please do share your feedback on how you want this class to be structured. If you think like today's format was okay, we will follow this. Or if you think that we should make it more interactive, please do send your thoughts on the WhatsApp group. At the end of the day, we want this session to be useful to all of us. So please feel free to suggest if you want any changes or any variation in the structure of this webinar.
Thank you, ma'am. Quiz will be
ma'am, please send us the recorded link.
Sure, we'll do.
The recording and the PPT will be shared later on.
Okay, ma'am.
I mean, maybe by the end of the day.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Any more questions? Can you make this class after 6 or 7? Ma'am, let me talk to the team and we'll get back on this.
Thank you.
questions for
Thank
now?
you. I think if we are done, then we can
Yeah.
close the thing. And thank you
Please
and
post,
all the best.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
and,
ma'am. Thank you very much.
and stay safe. All of you, please stay safe. Right. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhuri.
Thank you.
Any more questions can be posted to the WhatsApp group, please.